I'm sorry about your heels. I didn't tell you, but I tried them on this morning and they broke. Up next, I would like to introduce someone who has a vision for the world, but for now we will focus on Orlando. Please welcome the next mayoral candidate of the 2023 election, and also my wife, Kai.
Thank you everyone for coming to our conference. I'm sorry guys, I'm a little bit nervous. My name is Kylene Velez, but I prefer to go by Kai. I was born and raised here in Orlando, Florida, so I know what it's like to be here and what it's like to experience many of the struggles that are being faced here. I'm a Hispanic woman who is also part of the LGBTQ+ community. I am here to announce that I am running for Orlando mayor in the 2023 election season. Before I go into my platform, I'd like to introduce myself further. I'm an everyday working class citizen. I have experienced many of the common struggles that people have faced here in Orlando, ranging from hunger, homelessness, poverty, access to health care, and many other struggles. I also work at Wawa part-time, and I also work with my husband on his repair business. I know people are going to search me up online, so I thought I'd give clarity to the information that is out there. I have made many mistakes throughout the course of my life, just learning lessons. I'm only human. However, I want you guys to know that I've taken courses and even received services to resolve the issues I faced during those hard times in my life. These mistakes do not define me or my platform. I'm running because I've seen many others experience the common struggles that are faced and that I experienced myself. They impacted me so much that I want to do something about it. I have already listed what I have struggled with, but I also want to speak up on the fact that I've been treated disrespectfully by racists just because I speak Spanish, and I have been discriminated upon because I am bisexual. These are many of the struggles that people face, and in terms of equality, I plan to address many of the laws that have been put in place in the LGBTQ+ community that have been spoken of and recently passed into law, such as the Don't Say Gay bill, by communicating with our representatives about the hardships people in this community face. This city is full of many minority groups of different kinds. And I want you guys to know that there is no excuse for racism to continue in our city. It is time for us to stand up, fight back, and say enough is enough. Yes, we have freedom of speech, but that does not give you the right to disrespect other citizens. We are all people here. We are all human. I feel it is important to address these concerns about laws being put in place that restrict our freedoms. I believe that no law should be written that restricts a person from loving whom they love or the ability to make their choice to transition. I feel like these laws are highly disrespectful and hurt a population that is already dealing with higher rates of mental illness as a result of many different circumstances. We must support our LGBT+ family and protect their rights. This ties into education because our teachers and staff members should be equipped with tools and resources to assist students in this community. I myself struggled growing up when I was bisexual, and I was bullied constantly, and the only support that I received was not from my family, but from my education system. Teachers, staff members, counselors, they were the ones who supported me, and I believe they need more tools to assist them. And while on the topic of education, I want these people to be paid their fair wage. They are the future of our citizens, you know? They are the reason why we are standing here today, being able to continue in the workplace, being able to strive to do careers that we love to do. And they need to be paid more for that. And they need to be reimbursed for school supplies that they provide for students. Because I have experienced that struggle where I wasn't provided enough school supplies, and who provided those supplies? My teachers. They deserve more. They are the future of humanity. While on the topic of education, I would like to address the fact that our system has little to no real-world applications. I'd like to work with the Board of Education to establish courses such as career development, personal finance, and family planning courses so students are equipped with the information they need to survive in our society. These courses would help students better understand the environment and system that they live in and will help them succeed in their future. Whether it be a career as a doctor or working in HVAC, it doesn't matter. We need career development in schools. Hunger is another topic I'm so passionate about. I remember when I was a kid, my mom was searching for jobs while struggling to feed me and my sisters. There were days when all we had was eggs and rice made in different ways because it was all we could afford at the time. This is the reality for many Orlando residents. Some people can't even afford a pack of eggs because a pack of 30 eggs is over $10, which is our current minimum wage here in Orlando. And that's what makes me angry, the fact that you're literally comparing human life, the value of their hard work, in exchange for a pack of eggs. It is disrespectful to humanity. My plan to curb hunger is to expand access to community gardens and community fruit trees. With the rising cost of food, the only way to meet the demand is by offering other options for residents. Imagine bringing native plants back to the area that will bring balance back to our ecosystem and feed our residents, including the homeless population. Now we're gonna jump into homelessness real quick because I've experienced this 3 times in my life. The first time when I was younger with my family, the second time when I turned 18 when I was kicked out, and just recently in September 2021. That last time was really difficult. We went to a hotel. It was a struggle to even have the hotel booked for more than a day. We were struggling to make ends meet. We were hungry. And this is something that I want Orlando residents to never experience. I am currently paying $1,100 a month in a roommate situation. There are 8 people living in my house right now. It's a 5-bedroom house. This is the reality for many Orlando residents. The fact that a roommate situation is literally unaffordable for them, given the wages that they're being given. It's crazy because I've been searching for a 3-bedroom house for a while now, but there's nothing under $1,800 a month. The reality is many Orlando residents, including myself, make between $10 to $16 an hour. These homes require 3 times the rent, but we all know the cost of rent isn't aligning with the wages of the residents. My solution is to introduce rent control within Orlando to curb homelessness. If possible, I would also like these rentals to be inspected to ensure the price for them are fair. These policies will come with a fight from the state. However, I believe if we as residents stand up together for this cause, we can pressure the governor and our Florida legislature to pass these laws so no one has to struggle with homelessness ever again. As for poverty, it's common sense. We need higher wages, especially with the rising cost of everything. Everyone in the state of Florida was for the $15 minimum wage increase, but they ended up doing a slow rollout and some civilians protested because of it. Unfortunately, $15 an hour is no longer enough to provide for just one individual. Statistics show that Orlando residents have to make at least $20 an hour to survive. And I say survive because the simple fact that will not pay for family activities, extracurricular things, or even hobbies or interests. That is just providing for a roof over their head and for food. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And it really bothers me because in my mind, it makes sense to me that we have a living wage and not a survival wage. When Franklin D. Roosevelt introduced this minimum wage law in the first place, he literally said that this wage shall be a living wage, not just something that makes the ends meet and pays the bills. It's supposed to be something more than that. So the fact that we're not following the Fair Labor Standards Act to this day is ridiculous. And the fact that there's no protection for part-time employees is even worse. It is time we stand up for workers' rights. We deserve more. We deserve to be able to stand up to our employer for the cruelty that we experience in our workplace without fear of retaliation. This bridges into healthcare simply because of the fact that many citizens don't have access to it. And I went through a time like this. I struggled a lot during that time. I was irritated, angry, frustrated because I had no support and I needed it. Unfortunately, now I owe medical bills and they keep calling me every day and that doesn't seem to stop. My thing is that unfortunately, as mayor, I don't have the power to provide universal health care, even though it's something I'm passionate about. However, I can communicate with our governor, whoever that ends up being, so we can expand access to sliding scale health care and other methods of expanding access to health services. I believe that everything thus far is a basic human need. I don't understand why our government isn't being more proactive and empathizing with citizens in regards to these issues when people's lives are directly affected by the policies they put in place. I feel like these politicians are stuck in their way of thinking and do not prioritize our citizens and the issues we face. We need a clean slate and shift the way we do things as a city so we can move into the modern age. This goes for updating infrastructure for the digital age, shifting to alternative resources and energy, protecting our environment, And while I'm on the topic of our infrastructure, I'd like to expand access to public transit. There are maglev trains and bullet trains in different parts of the world that provide high-speed transportation for the majority of citizens in their cities. I'd like to shift transportation in Orlando that it utilizes from car first to public transit for the simple fact that it will expand access to transportation for over 280,000 residents. I plan to work with our existing providers to move the run times for buses in Sunrail from every 30 minutes to every 15. This will allow people to get to their jobs without having to worry about a late bus. The United Nations states that we must shift to alternative energy by 2030 to avoid further damage to our climate. I feel Orlando should be part of the change we want to see in this world by making the shift to protect our environment. Buses will run on alternative energy. We need to force more solar panels to be included in the new infrastructure that we are building. And while on the topic of infrastructure and alternative resources, I believe our buildings and our roads should be created with alternative resources such as hemp concrete, which is made way more durable than concrete. There are other examples that I can express to proper authorities once I'm in office, but to start, we need biodegradable resources that can easily be grown. Literally an acre of hemp would produce more paper than 10 acres of trees. Imagine how that would save us as a society. Imagine how much that would save us when it comes to building costs. Because hemp is super cheap and it's easily accessible and it grows within 6 weeks. Human rights are at the forefront of my campaign because I watched access to a safe medical procedure be stripped from our rights via the Supreme Court, and they continue to discuss other rights they want to overturn. I used this medical procedure when I suffered from a miscarriage, which means my body wasn't able to properly miscarry. If it weren't for that procedure, which was medically necessary, I wouldn't be standing here today. I could have ended up with sepsis. And that is the reality for millions of Americans, hundreds of thousands of Florida residents that need access to this health care. I plan to be an advocate for the people and stand up for what's right for the majority, and that is us, the working class. This fight is not over with our rights. They're going to keep pushing. We've been patient enough, and they've done nothing to serve us for years, even with citizens protesting nationwide. We all know who the government truly represents, and it's not the working class. They heard our cries and just ignored us during our times of need. Remember who denied us assistance during the pandemic, and let's vote these people out of office. They don't deserve a seat in office if they aren't willing to listen to the people who voted for them in the first place. We begged for stimulus payments, and what did they give us? 3. What about the rest of the world? They were getting them monthly. Some countries even instated a universal basic income because of this pandemic. We deserve more as citizens. This funding that Mr. Ali said was going to tourism could fund all of these projects and still have enough money for tourism. There is no excuse for this. This is why I'm standing here today, though, to stand up for what's right for everybody here and for everybody that's out there that hasn't been here today. Because I know what it's like to struggle. And if I can do something about it, why not stand up and make that change? I will always listen to what my people have to say because I know what it's like to struggle. And at the end of the day, your opinions on laws should matter to our government. Isn't that what makes a democracy after all? The fact that our voices should be heard regarding policy? This is why we vote and complete polls on laws that are being put in place. I believe that laws should be existing without bias or judgment. Laws should protect and benefit everyone, regardless of sexual orientation, gender, race, it doesn't matter. These people are putting laws into place that help the rich more than it helps the people that provide them the tax money in the first place, which they're giving out to the rich via incentives. This is not okay. It is time for us to stand up and fight back. I hope to garner your support in this election so we can work on addressing these issues together for the advancement of Orlando, so we can move into the modern age. We are one world, one people, and together we can make great change. Thank you, and I hope you have an amazing evening.
That was great. That was awesome. Danina said, fuck it up. Fuck it up.
Wow, what an amazing speech, am I right?
Yes.
Get another round.
Yes.
Woo!
That was good.
See, the passion came up.
I know, but I'm crying.